Hong Kong might see a typhoon over this weekend as a tropical cyclone is developing in the waters east of the Philippines. The observatory expects the system will barrel towards the South China Sea and move towards the coast of Guangdong, with winds packing strength on par with intensity under the strong wind signal number 3 on Sunday. Hong Kong has seen overcast skies with occasional showers throughout the day. Sham Shui Po and Kowloon City both recorded over 10 millimeters of rainfall at noon. The observatory expects as the trough of low pressure weakens, the weather will gradually turn sunny and hot over the next 2 to 3 days, but a typhoon might be on the way over the weekend. Satellite images show the sea east of the Philippines covered by convective cloud clusters associated with low pressure areas. The city's forecaster is expecting this low-pressure zone to gradually develop into a tropical cyclone over the next 1 or 2 days, entering the North and South China Sea later this week and generally moving towards the Guangdong coast over the weekend. But its intensity and exact location to make landfall remain uncertain for now. Computer forecasts of its track also differ. The European Center for Medium-Range Forecasts expects the system to skirt close around the south of Hong Kong on Sunday and make landfall on the city's western side. Chinese-developed AI models Fengwu, Fuxi, and Pangu meanwhile anticipate that the cyclone will make landfall east of Hong Kong. HKO says typhoons making landfall from the eastern side generally have lower wind speeds due to terrain barriers. The observatory forecasts the city will usher in more squally showers and thunderstorms starting Saturday. On Sunday, winds on high grounds and offshore are expected to pack strength reaching force 6 to 7, equivalent to strong wind signal number 3. A city bus crashed into a railing on Tuen Mun Road near Shenzhen Tuesday morning. 10 passengers were injured and taken to hospital. Joe Lee reports.
The accident occurred around 9 a.m. near Blanjiu in Shenzhen. The bus was heading towards Kowloon and struck a roadside railing. The Route 952P bus, operated by City Bus, was traveling from Chilok Fayun in Tuen Mun to Causeway Bay. The bus sustained significant damage with its front windshield shattered, and the left side windows and door on the lower deck wrecked. 10 passengers were injured, some of them were wounded by shattered glass. Several passengers had to be carried away on stretchers to the ambulances after receiving on-site bandaging, while uninjured passengers left the scene on other buses with police assistance. This passenger said the bus was half full. She heard people shouting from upstairs, though not in a frantic way. No injuries were reported on the upper deck. The accident forced a lane to be closed for more than an hour. The 64-year-old bus driver was arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving and has been suspended from duty. Joe Lee, TVB News.
Japanese officials say a Chinese Navy destroyer conducted live fire drills off one of Japan's remote islands in the Pacific Ocean on Sunday during its joint exercise with Russia. The Chinese Luoyang 3-class guided missile destroyer conducted a live fire exercise 180 kilometers off Japan's southernmost island of Okinotori, an area Japan says falls under its exclusive economic zone. This hours after the Japanese Joint Staff says the destroyer operating alongside 2 other Chinese warships and a Russian frigate were spotted. Chief Cabinet Secretary Minoru Kihara tells reporters his government conveyed concerns that the live fire drills posed potential safety threat to nearby vessels. He notes ships near the area received a notice from the Chinese warships just before the drill started. At a press briefing, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian calls Tokyo's concerns completely unreasonable, adding China firmly rejects them.
Japan's so-called concern is actually groundless. China has firmly refuted the concern from the Japanese side. On China-Russia joint exercise and patrol, Chinese competent authorities has made positions clear on that. Let me stress that, according to UNCLOS, Okinotori is Iraq rather than an island. As such, it is not entitled to an EEZ or continental shelf. Japan's claim of an EEZ around the Tokinoro Torii violates international law.
Welcome back. India's cockroach movement says it will not march again, a day after scores of supporters were injured in clashes with police. Delhi police said nearly 180 people, including security personnel and students, were injured on Monday when they clashed in central Delhi. Thousands of Gen Z protesters gathered to march on Parliament, demanding the resignation of Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan over examination paper leaks. Police fired tear gas and charged with batons at supporters of the youth-led cockroach movement, as senior leaders of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government took a hard line against the demonstrators. Southeast Asian diplomats kick off talks in Manila, capital of the Philippines, as they urge restraint in Middle East conflict. A series of related meetings, including conferences with external partners such as China, the U.S., and Japan, will take place in the days ahead. Danny Zhou tells us more.
The Middle East turmoil cast a shadow over the ongoing meeting of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations that is set to call for the full reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. The recent US-Iran hostilities at sea has once again raised fears about energy supplies through the critical waterway after Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. declared a national emergency in March to ensure the availability of fuel and food in the country. The Philippine Foreign Secretary and ASEAN Chair Teresa Lazaro told reporters that officials had grave concern for the situation in Iran.
There is, of course, serious concern on the developments of the Middle East. In fact, if you notice, this is the only document that involves geopolitics in our discussions.
During the opening session, she noted that the region's strength and resilience lie in their community, stressing it is a strategic necessity for countries to work together because in a fractured global landscape, no single nation can weather these storms alone. A statement by ASEAN foreign ministers has been released after a closed-door meeting to urge all parties concerned to exercise utmost self-restraint and avoid any acts that may further aggravate the situation. The statement writes, "We're deeply concerned that these developments severely undermine the ongoing effort of key mediators and diminish the prospects for a peaceful resolution through dialogue and diplomacy." U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Russia's top diplomat Sergei Lavrov later participated in the annual talks. Beijing announces member of the Politburo and Foreign Minister Wang Yi is slated to attend the China-ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting on Wednesday, as China expects expanding consensus on development and cooperation with the 11-member bloc. A bilateral meeting between Rubio and Wang is anticipated. Meanwhile, the civil war in Myanmar and disputes over the South China Sea remain tests for ASEAN. Ahead of the gathering, China's Coast Guard fiercely refuted Manila's claims that Chinese personnel had aggressively struck one of its Navy personnel near Renaijiao in the South China Sea. The Foreign Ministry warns that the ASEAN Cooperation Platform is not a place for maritime-related issues. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
After taking over from Sir Keir Starmer as Britain's 7th Prime Minister in a decade, Andy Burnham confirms members of his cabinet and plans to convene the first meeting on Tuesday. Danny Zhou has his report.
Andy Burnham, standing alongside his wife Marie-France Van Heel, launched his premiership at number 10 Downing Street with a 10-year plan for Britain to tackle the cost of living crisis, revive industry, hand over more powers to local government and deliver what it describes as a circuit breaker that has taken many wrong turns since the 1980s. He said he would also be making calls to foreign leaders, starting with US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. After weeks as leader-in-waiting, Burnham officially became Prime Minister during a meeting with the King at Buckingham Palace.
The former Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham has formally accepted an invitation from King Charles III to form a government.
The composition of Burnham's senior ministerial team has placed his allies in central Whitehall roles while dismantling some of the key pillars of the Starmer era. Members of the new cabinet were seen assembling at Downing Street on Monday. The most dramatic move came at the Treasury, where Chancellor of the Exchequer Rachel Reeves is replaced by John Healey, a former Defence Secretary who resigned in June and accused the Treasury of failing to spend enough on the military at a time of rising threats. Former Labour leader Ed Miliband moved to Foreign Secretary to take over international relations. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood and Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy are staying, while former Health Secretary Wes Streeting is appointed Defence Chief.
Let us make this the moment when Britain starts to believe again, the moment we bring back hope. Thank you very much, everybody. I swear by Almighty God.
As Burnham settles into Downing Street, there has been speculation about whether his agendas will be affected by his religious roots. Born in Lancashire and raised in a working-class family in Liverpool, he is the first British leader who was baptised Catholic and a former altar boy that grew up in the Catholic Church. Some scholars agree that Burnham is a cultural Catholic who has absorbed the Catholic social teaching and that the faith will unconsciously influence how he discharges his duties.
So, for example, he would never vote, I think, against abortion. I think he would probably be in favour of assisted dying. And there are other areas on same-sex marriage which he would support that.
Now, it's important to note that Catholic social teaching is about social issues, so it doesn't feed into the kind of moral issues that I know people will be watching Andy Burnham closely for, say around euthanasia or a woman's right to choose.
Danny Zhou, TVB News.
U.S. President Donald Trump signs 3 proclamations to impose 50% tariff on certain Canadian goods, saying Canada was discriminating against U.S. commerce. In response, Premier of Ontario Province Doug Ford says in a post on X that Canada should respond tariff for tariff, dollar for dollar. This follows earlier comments from Ford at a news conference on Monday that he is frustrated with Trump's threats to place tariffs on Canada over wildfire smoke.
You got to remind President Trump that there's 3.9 million acres burning in the United States right now. And if we had resources, we would send them down to our closest friends and allies. So, you know something, rather than criticize and threaten Canada, your closest friends, maybe one day you're going to need our help like you did last year, and we deployed the people. I get frustrated just listening to that bunch of rubbish.
The Hong Kong Book Fair is drawing to a close today, with many readers making one last visit to take advantage of deep discounts before the annual event wraps up. Luna Bai has more.
While crowds are smaller than over the weekend, many visitors are still arriving with suitcases and trolleys, hoping to stock up on books before the fair ends.
I came here on the final day because I think the final day has the most deals, and also because the books are the most interesting because they have a lot of variety.
Many exhibitors have been offering bigger discounts over the final days. While 20% off has been common throughout the fair, many books are now half price, with selected titles discounted by as much as 80 or even 90%. By 3 p.m., more booths began clearance sales, offering even deeper discounts or free gifts with purchases to attract bargain hunters.
The original price was like $600, but then the discount went all the way down to $200. So I think it's a very good discount.
Booksellers say the promotions are not only aimed at clearing their remaining stock, but also at encouraging more people to read and recognize their publisher. Compared with last year, when a typhoon and a black rainstorm warning disrupted the event, many exhibitors say this year's turnout and sales have been slightly better. Booksellers say novels remain the favorite, while educational books are especially popular among students preparing for a new school year. Luna Bai, TVB News.
Punters gather at the city's betting centers, all in the hope of winning the record $100 million Mark 6 Summer Snowball jackpot with just a $10 ticket. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Betting stations under the Hong Kong Jockey Club open at 11 a.m. across the city, as the eager punters were already seen waiting in line outside this center on Central Stanley Street. This man says he earlier saw a news report indicating extra betting luck at this particular venue, but adds he didn't have much luck winning in the past. While this woman says she came all the way from Shek Kip Mei, hoping a winning ticket could lift her family out of poverty. Some mainland visitors say they also wanted to try their luck. Mr. Yang from Zhongshan says it's his second time buying tickets for the jackpot, adding he hopes to go shopping more often in Hong Kong if he manages to take the grand cash prize. According to the HKJC, as of the start of this year, the betting station at Tuen Mun Town Plaza recorded a total of 48 first prize winners since 1994, beating the 47-winner record of its Stanley Street counterpart. Over in Wan Chai, those trying their luck were seen at the Jaffa Road betting station as of the late afternoon, with these wishes if they win the jackpot.
Repay my loan and put it on my bank account or something.
Travel or have some decoration of my home.
We're going to split it amongst the 7 people that contributed to these tickets, but I think maybe have a nice meal with my family.
The number of punters here on Jaffa Road has largely declined during the afternoon. This as many of those who placed their bets today said they expect more people to turn up during the evening. Many punters indicated they participated in the draw today, calling it an essential part of Hong Kong culture. Ticket sales are set to close at 9:15 p.m. for those still looking to try their luck. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.